Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and let me tell you what, the from Apex and Brad Combs just released a lot of the XRP Las Vegas footage. I didn't even get to watch a lot of the actual presentations when I was there and the interviews, and so I've been going over some of them. There's some really good sound bites out of them. I'm going to show you some of those, and then we've got a lot of Apex stuff I'll cover in the group as well. You can join through daixrp.com through the Patreon, or click the join button right below any of my YouTube videos. Let's start it with this one. This is Matt Hogan and Steve McClurg. Matt Hogan is from Bitwise. Steve McClurg is from Canary Funds. Both of them have filed for XRP ETFs. In this clip, Stephen McClurg is talking about his uncomfortability with self-custody. Now, I'm one of those people, I used to use self-custody. I don't anymore, because I know that institutional custody is the end game for most of the people that are going to enter crypto, especially the ones that haven't entered yet. That doesn't mean I don't want people to have self-custody. I want them to have it, those that want that option. But I'm not one of these people that believes that when millions and millions of dollars come in, that it's going to be on a hard wallet. I don't think that's how this game ends. This game, I've said it a long time. The way this thing gets full adoption is through institutional custody. There's a reason Ripple bought custody companies. It's just the way it is. But what he's saying here is what people like my father and a lot of older people, but not necessarily older people. There's going to be a ton of people who have never been comfortable with this idea of keys and all this stuff. And so he says it here.
I mean, even on the staking topic, you made a really good point on raising security. I personally own things on a ledger, and I personally try to stake what I have. And all I can think about is like messing up, I've got really, really smart people on my team that aren't me that do this for us. And I just want somebody else to do it, right? Like I'm 50 years old. I can barely program a VCR, let alone do some of this tech stuff.
And let me mention, even with what he just described, having smart people that are in control, that's another attack vector. What if he hires someone who's very smart, but they're actually some freaking Chinese spy or something, or a North Korean hacker who got a job there, and then one day he wakes up and his hard wallet gets sucked dry of everything? I mean, even that's an attack vector.
It's great to have experts do that activity for you and not, try to rely on people that aren't. Matt's way smarter than me, probably does it all himself. But I like the fact that we're working with qualified custodians like BitGo and Coinbase and Gemini and Crypto.com that are experts at this and can handle this type of activity.
Now, for us, we haven't been able to get institutional custody, but I have found Caleb and Brown, and that's where I've got some of my XRP. I have it spread. I've got it some at Caleb and Brown. Next week, I'm going to tell you where I also have it, another institutional custody platform. But you can, if you want to put some at Caleb and Brown like I did, you can go to xrpwealth589.com. They are my affiliate partner. It'll take you right to my affiliate page. You can click sign up today right there. The market is down a little bit by maybe $500 billion or so. XRP at 222, not much to talk about there. Just in, SEC delays Franklin Templeton Spot XRP ETF until June 17th. The word delay is the wrong word, but you don't have to hear it from me. These ETFs are not being delayed. They're going through a process. In this clip, Matt Hogan from Bitwise, when he was at XRP Las Vegas, in part of this clip, he discusses that these aren't delays. This is just the SEC process that these things are going through.
I think the current administration is definitely on board with that. So I do believe that we'll see an XRP ETF this year.
Matt, you are interested in index funds.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that. That we have a deadline on that coming up in July, I believe, and you guys have an index fund application in that I think has 5% XRP exposure.
That's right.
So what does that mean for XRP holders?
Yeah, first, I'm with Steve on I think it's likely that we'll get an XRP ETF this year. Those deadlines are in October, and that's an exciting time to be focused on. There's some interim deadlines, but October is the real one.
What are interim deadlines? Can you just explain that a little bit? Because I know there's some confusion.
It's like when your teacher tells your daughter to write a paper and show a draft and then a second draft, and she never does it until the last minute when she writes it overnight.
So everything that I did in high school.
That's the way it works with the SEC. They have 240 days to review an ETF, but there are these deadlines at, I think it's 90, 120, 180, and they can just push it forward by literally writing a memo, say I'm going to push it forward. And my experience is they tend to do that.
Yeah.
So when we talk about interim deadlines, you'll see news stories that an XRP ETF was delayed. That's actually incorrect. That's the SEC just pushing the homework button and booting it to the end. And the end is in October. So those are the deadlines to look at. Mm-hmm. The reason I bring that up as relevant is we have an index-based ETF that we're hoping to uplist. It's an existing fund that we would uplist. Its approval deadline's in July. As you mentioned, that ETF has about 5% XRP. It's a market cap weighted ETF. XRP is the third largest holding. We're very excited and energized by that. And I'm excited about that because I think that is maybe the biggest market in ETFs. If you think about ETFs broadly, most ETFs are index based. Mm-hmm. I think an index ETF could be as large as a Bitcoin ETF. And that trickles down into significant purchasing of XRP if and when it happens, and we get the inflows.
These are bullish as they can be. How about this one?
Look, I think we're in the golden age of real world crypto. I actually don't think the 4-year cycle is relevant anymore, so I'm against
interesting.
on that. And I look at crypto and I look at an industry where people have been asking where the real world impact is. And you look over the last 4 years and regulation just made that impossible. It scared entrepreneurs out of the space and it suppressed product development. But the thing people don't realize is during those 4 years, the infrastructure continued to build and it built.
Now think about this. During those 4 years, what company and what digital asset was suppressed more than any other? XRP, Ripple.
At an exponential scale. And so now you have infrastructure that can really support worldwide financial activity. And all of a sudden, the dam has been unleashed. I think we're going to see real world impacts at a much faster rate than anyone in the broad-based media expects because it's been suppressed so long. It's a coiled spring. And so I'm really excited to see that come into the world, make the world a better place.
All right. And then this one's also awesome.
I'm extraordinarily bullish. I spend my days traveling to traditional financial conferences. And 2 years ago, I used to speak pre-conference. And then a year ago, I used to speak on a secondary stage. And I've keynoted 3 major broker-dealer conferences over the last 2 months. These people control 30, 40, 50 trillion dollars, depending on how you count. When I survey the room, I ask people to raise their hands. How many own crypto in a client account? And you get like 3 hands. And then how many are considering buying it in the next year? And you get like 70% of the room. So I think we're just, every week, we're unlocking another 5 to 10 trillion dollars that couldn't buy crypto. Last week, the Department of Labor changed their rules so 401ks could start allocating to crypto. That's another $8 trillion unlock. Steve will say that's not going to happen overnight. He's absolutely right. That will take multiple years. But the week before that, a major wirehouse that has $7 trillion unlocked crypto ETFs. It's just too much money. I say this all the time, like 95% of the world's wealth has 0% in crypto. That's going to change. So that's why I guess I'm a permabull until that plays out.
Exactly. That is why we're here. U.S. Senate has advanced the Genius stablecoin bill with a 68-30 vote, setting up for debate, full floor vote, before potentially heading to the House. And apparently the House is where it gets easy, folks. They just got to get past the Senate, and this thing's a done deal. Here's Monica Long from Apex. This too is very bullish. I think that she's describing the XRP endgame, in my opinion.
Conversations in the U.S. Night and day. I mean, literal 180, especially, talking to banks last year. We were working on our banking relationships to launch RLUSD, which we launched in December. As well as we're always talking to banks because a key advantage for us is our payout network for Ripple payments. So those conversations really did turn on a dime with the administration change, and a lot more momentum toward regulatory clarity in the U.S. That's probably the market that I noticed the most market difference. So I joined the company 12 years ago, so almost at the beginning. And what I can say is, the creators of the ledger, the founders of the company have always held this vision near and dear of making money movement globally as low friction, free and efficient and reliable as possible. And I just, it has taken a long time to get toward regulatory clarity, which then has an effect on our ability to connect XRP Ledger with traditional financial rails, so you get that end-to-end money movement. And so it's been a really exciting journey, and I think we're reaching an important inflection point now.
Let me translate. When these regulations finally come in, XRP is going to finally be able to bridge these transactions between these huge financial institutions. And then it's game over. Why do you think Brad Garlinghouse is talking about, why do you think Brad Garlinghouse thinks that they could capture 14% of Swift's volume over the next 5 years? It's because he knows these regulations are going to set it off, folks. Okay, I got a ton more to cover in the group, including there's apparently a Ripple tender offer of shares going around, and the valuation for Ripple, if this is actually true, is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. If you want to join the group, go to daixrp.com, or you can join through YouTube by clicking the join button right below any of my YouTube videos. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.